Howdy, I'm Dr. Brian David Phillips, and I'd like to welcome you to a little rant, if you will. Not really a rant, I don't plan on raising my voice a lot, but I'd like you to look into the hypno wheel, and as I speak, just imagine yourself not, or possibly not going into a wonderfully deep hypnotic state. Now, you don't have to go into hypnosis now. You can wait until a few moments from now, but if you like, you can go ahead and slip into that wonderful deep state, or not now, just in a few moments, or not at all. It's your choice. Because you see, hypnosis is not a magical superpower. It's a consensual state. Hypnosis is a focused trance. Now, a focused trance that has utility. And that's an important distinction. Because, you know, there's a whole lot of folks out there who are calling any old trance hypnosis. Now, you may have heard a hypnotist say things like, hypnosis is just like that time when you were a child and you were playing a game and you got so involved in it, it felt as if it were real. I know some of you have heard hypnotists say that because I know some of you have heard me say that. But remember, when I say it, I say hypnosis is like that time when you were a child. I didn't say that time was hypnosis. That's a sort of trance when we're experientially involved in an activity that everything else around us slips off and out of focus. We become focused on that activity. That's a focused trance state. It's not hypnosis, but hypnosis is a focused trance state. Sambunal. Remember the word sambunal. S-O-M-B-U-N-A-L. It will serve you well. It's actually a contraction from the phrase some but not all. Some but not all focused trance states are hypnosis. But that doesn't mean that all hypnosis is a focused trance state, although usually it is. But it also doesn't mean that all focused trance states are hypnotic in nature. Okay, some hypnotists describe hypnosis as any old trance. Right? Now, some of these folks are not members of the Society of Experiential Trance, and there will be a link to that at the end of the video, as well as in the description, which is a society of exceptionally competent practitioners in the arts of experiential hypnosis, altered states of consciousness, and focused trance thought forms, which include some forms of guided imagery meditation and genuine experiential trance work. But not all of them are hypnotic in nature, nor are they all experiential in nature. Okay? When a hypnotist is telling you things like, or asking you the question, have you ever read a book? Hopefully you have. Oh, please, gods, let there be that you have. Have you ever? Now, answer this question to me. You can say it out loud if you like while you're watching the video. Don't worry, no one will notice in the crowded library that you're in that you're yelling or talking to a computer. They have other things on their mind. But have you ever read a book? Now, have you ever read a book that you enjoyed? Have you ever read a book that you enjoyed so much that as you read the piece, your focus was so much on that piece that you lost track of time? Perhaps you started reading and you got imaginatively engaged in the piece, and the next time you looked up at the clock, a whole lot of time has gone by that you couldn't account for because you were just so engaged in that extremely thrilling piece of prose. Well, that's a phenomenon called time dilation or time distortion, and it is a hypnotic phenomenon. But the thing is, that doesn't mean every time you experience that phenomena that you're experiencing hypnotic trances. No. It simply means that two types of trances have common well, common symptoms or common effects. So when we look at hypnosis, and usually when we think of hypnosis, we think of stage hypnotists commanding people, sleep now, and they, or you cannot remember your name is gone, you'll get it back in a moment, but for now it's gone. And those of you who are watching this video, and I know there are some of you, if you now can't remember your name, you can go ahead and forget your name, and go ahead and remember to remember your name right now. Okay? And anyone who has any sort of hypnotic effects from watching this video, because I know I'm an extremely handsome guy and people do go in trance while listening to me. That's what I tell myself in my classes at the university when students start falling asleep. That could be the only explanation for them falling asleep at this time. But be that as it is, anyone who does go into some sort of odd, spontaneous trance while watching this, if you're in an experiential trance or hypnotic state, at the end of the video, you're completely alert, aware, and all negative effects are gone. All effects are gone. Let's go with that. Yeah, let's do that. Well, here's the thing. Time distortion happens naturally. Amnesia happens naturally. We all experience these phenomena at different times. But that doesn't mean when we experience those phenomena that we're in a hypnotic state. There are folks who will tell you that all trances are hypnotic, or they'll even go insofar as to say anytime the critical factor of the conscious mind, which is an important factor in achieving hypnotic hypnosis, anytime that the critical factor of the conscious mind is bypassed, that's a hypnotic state. In fact, there are some folks who will tell you things like commercial advertising on television, or political speeches, or religious sermons. All of these are changing the way we think, and therefore are a form of hypnosis. Okay? Now, in psychology, in social psychology, there's actually a very specific technical term for this sort of definition. It's called bullshit. Okay, that's not how things work, folks. You can't just describe any form of social psychology or social influence and say it's a hypnotic communication. If all trances and all social influence are hypnotic in nature, that means there's no longer a reasonable way for us to discuss hypnosis. Because that means there's really no such thing as hypnosis if everything's hypnotic. Okay? You understand that? We might as well just talk about communication, which I have degrees in. And it's awesome and cool to discuss communication theory and rhetoric. But that's not the nature of hypnosis. And anyone who's done any reasonable amount of study of genuine hypnosis, I mean real study, understands that recent research clearly shows there is indeed such a thing as hypnosis. fMRI scans of the brain while folks are undergoing hypnotic suggestion show clearly something is happening in the brain. Okay, there's a neurological effect. So hypnosis is real, but hypnosis is not everything. Okay. For me, the important distinction between a trance state a person goes into naturally at any time for whatever effect or purpose, and a hypnotic state is one very important difference might be utility. And the utility is the ability to make use of that trance in a positive and effective way. Another way to distinguish hypnosis from other forms of trance is simply in the effectiveness that it has in the moment. Not just the utility in terms of therapy, recreation, and entertainment, but also in terms of what we can or cannot do. There's also a dissociative effect, an effect whereby we feel as if our movements or thoughts or changes are almost automatistic They become automatisms, as if things are happening in and of themselves. That's an important distinction. All trance is not hypnosis. If someone says that, and I know many of my colleagues who will watch this video are of the opinion that all trance is hypnosis, hypnosis is only trance. I disagree strongly. I also disagree with the distinction of levels. Okay, now traditionally when hypnosis was studied academically, they had different levels. They had very light trance, they had medium hypnosis, they had deep hypnosis. And those distinctions are useful as a model, but it doesn't really describe everything that's happening. Some people work with the definition of hypnosis that hypnosis is a relaxed state. It's not. Hypnosis occurs at a waking state. I taught many seminars on waking hypnosis or hypnosis without relaxation. Okay? I do that all the time. When I do suggestibility sequencing, which some of you know what that phrase means, I am working in a completely alert state. However, I still have trance. There are some folks who, with clever marketing, say they have hypnosis without trance. Okay? Well, that's a clever way of using definitions. They imply that hypnosis can be done without a trance, but hypnosis is a form of trance. It's a focused trance. What they're really saying is they're performing hypnotic state work without relaxation and perhaps without eye closure. I do the same thing. Hypnosis still is a trance state. It's just you don't have relaxation or eye closure. Those aren't required. Okay, they're interesting writers that are useful for inducing hypnosis, but they're not requirements. That doesn't mean that if you can do hypnosis without relaxation, you're not using a trance. You are using a trance. It's just a different type of trance than relaxed meditation. You're using an active form of meditation. Active meditation is very movable. Okay, folks are not relaxed in active meditation. They're moving around, they're doing stuff, but they're still in a trance-like state or a trance state. They're in an altered state of consciousness, and that's where hypnosis comes in. Now, there are many, many, many effects of hypnosis which can occur naturally, and sometimes because these so-called hypnotic states occur spontaneously, as if the person had no control over it, then there are folks who will say, well, because it occurs naturally, all natural trances are hypnotic. No, sorry, not again. All right, so let's look at some everyday trance states and see how the difference between those and a hypnotic state might be. Age progression. Age progression is something where we project ourselves into the future. We often do that. We daydream about our future. But in the hypnotic state, we control the progression and we control the depth of the experience. That is, the intensity of the imaginative experience. There's age regression. Instead of thinking of the future, we're tied into the past as if it's actually happening now. And that can happen to folks spontaneously. But with hypnosis, we're using that. That's the utility aspect for very specific reasons. Dissociation, that feeling where you're not connected to yourself or to your feelings. There's separation from the body and the mind and the spirit. And those can happen naturally in certain occasions, but it also happens elsewhere. Amnesia, forgetting things. You might have forgotten where your keys are. Have you ever done this? Damn it, I can't find my glasses. Where the hell are my glasses? I've been looking everywhere. I looked on the desk for them. I looked in the closet. I don't know where I put them. Oh. Or the guy who can't find his pen and it's stuck behind his ear. Or the person who can't find their car keys and they're right there in front of them on the desk or where they put them last. And where they looked at them. They literally look at the desk and don't see the damn keys. The other night, I was asking for a little bottle of ointment for my wife, and she didn't know where it was. She was sure that I had it last. Okay, I tore the damn room up looking for that bottle of ointment. It was sitting on the computer desk right in front of her. and she was looking right at it, but she didn't see it. Okay? Now, she's not a particularly adult-minded person. She's a very bright woman, and some of you know that because you've met her or you've corresponded with her. She's incredibly intelligent, but she just didn't see it because she didn't expect it. Therefore, she didn't process it, because the brain is a really nifty thing. Amnesia, negative hallucination of not seeing something, forgetting where things are, positive hallucination where you see something that's not there. These are all natural things. Confusion. I'm confused half the time. I've got a PhD, and that means a messed up mind indeed. I don't process things the way most folks do. Yeah, you can't have a normal brain and go through that hell. I'm sorry, all my colleagues are saying, well, fuck you, Phillips. And that's okay. You can think those horrible thoughts. I don't mind, as long as you just don't act on them. Time distortion, as I said before, sensory distortion. These are all things that happen naturally, which are usually and often associated with hypnosis. But see, if we don't induce the hypnosis, then these are naturally occurring states, and we don't have the utility of a guide who can utilize those for effectiveness and to accelerate the intensification for that. So we do need to be aware of those differences. Not all trances are hypnotic. Now, we can hijack some naturally occurring trance states. We can hijack those suckers and turn them into hypnosis. In fact, at the time of this video, I'm preparing a seminar on hypnosleep. Hypnosleep is inducing hypnosis in a sleeping person, either through hypnosis, dropping someone into a sleep state and then hijacking it, or just taking someone who's in a naturally sleeping state and hijacking the hypnoidal phenomenon into a deep trance state and hypnosis. And it's pretty awesome stuff. And that's essentially what you do. And there are forms of inductions for regression where we get someone into a naturally occurring regressive state and then hijack that into a hypnotic phenomenon and hypnotic session. Okay, those are exceptions to the general rule that naturally occurring trance states are just that. They're altered states of consciousness, but they're not in and of themselves hypnotic. Right. Now, what is hypnosis? Well, I like to work from a particular definition. As I said, different folks have different definitions. The definition of hypnosis that I tend to use is that experiential, and I use experiential hypnosis, which traditionally is thought of in terms of as somnambulism, which used to be thought of as a deep state of hypnosis. I think it's just a working state of hypnosis, of genuine hypnosis, as opposed to light relaxation, which I consider light relaxation, and there are suggestion can and does occur in light relaxation, but it's not necessarily a hypnotic state. Certainly not unless you test for it. And there are different signs people are in a genuine hypnotic state. You might have increased REM, rapid eye movement. You might have what I call the windshield wiper effect, which is if the eyes are closed, the eyeball literally protrudes out, and at the REM, you can see the eye under the ball, or under the lid, the ball under the lid, moving, and it looks like a little windshield wiper. It's incredibly awesome. Some folks, when they go into experiential hypnosis, they have a spontaneous eye roll, which is a beautiful sign where their eyes just go up. And if you see that happen as a hypnotist, you go, yeah, because you know you're going to have a great effect, a great session. Lacrimation, increased lacrimation, that's tearing, not crying, but tearing of the eyes as the capillaries open up for more blood flow. That's also the tear ducts open up, and there is more wetness or tears from the experience. Likewise, when the capillaries open up, you have more redness. You'll get bloodshot eyes and things like that. You may have lassitude in the limbs. You may have relaxation, but you don't necessarily have to have that. You have suggested catalepsy. That's a really great sign for genuine, true hypnosis, where you can suggest to the person that their limbs are very relaxed and cannot move, or they're very stiff and will not move. And there's all sorts of wonderful things for tests of it, but let's go to the definition just for this, okay? And so, experiential hypnosis, and I'm actually reading from the Society of Experiential Trance's website for the definition, so I get it exactly right just for you. Experiential hypnosis is a modality of change work that relies upon trance. Actually, it's trance work is the modality that relies upon experiential trance or experiential hypnosis, which is, and here's our definition of experiential hypnosis, an altered state of consciousness or enhanced sensory hypnosis that is consensual, guided, intensified imaginative involvement to bypass the critical factor of the conscious mind and establish appropriate selective thinking via forms of influence and suggestion through formal and informal ritual induction procedures designed to create associative, emotional, and physical focus for a particular purpose within variable context, entertainment, recreation, therapy, education, those sort of objectives. Okay. Now, in the SET, we seek genuine experiential hypnosis, and we guide our trance partners into verifiable hypnotic phenomena. Not just relaxation. That's nice, but we're hypnotists. We're not relaxationists. Now, don't get me wrong, guided imagery, simple guided imagery, simple relaxation are very therapeutic in nature, and they can help folks quite a bit. And if you have someone who is naturally a lower responder, you use that and build up skill sets within hypnosis. But it's not hypnosis until you can get that experiential, intensified, imaginative involvement. Now, this is, of course, in my opinion. There's a whole lot of folks out there who disagree with me, and that's okay. I do not mind there being people out in the world who are wrong. They're free to disagree with me. But I just wanted to rant a bit. I'm not really ranting. I guess it's not ranting unless you're yelling and cursing. I had a little bit of cursing, but not too much yelling. But I just recently saw a whole slew of posts on Facebook and elsewhere about how some political news channels are hypnotizing us, how politicians are hypnotizing us. Bullshit. They're not. They're using social influence and social psychology, and they're damned well surely influencing us, but that's not hypnosis. Hypnosis is an experiential trance state, and all trances are not hypnosis. You have to have the utility. Now, one other caveat on this, a lot of folks will tell you that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And I do absolutely agree with that, because it is a consensual state, and the trance partner must consent to the state and must follow the directions. However, I really do find that my self-hypnosis works a little better when someone else is doing the guiding. Heterohypnosis is the way to go, and learn how to do stuff. So that's that. That's me. I'm Brian David Phillips. I'm a hypnotist, and I just wanted to have that little thing out there just for folks, because there's a whole bunch of folks out there, many of them with long strings of letters and weird arcane titles, the weird arcane titles at the front of their name and the long string of letters at the end of their names, and some of them are just spouting nonsense. I'm not going to name anybody, but seriously, all hypnosis is a focused trance, but it is a form of critical factor bypass that use intensified imaginative involvement intensified imaginative involvement, that's really important. That's the experiential state or aspect of it. And there's also utility to the state. And I've got a whole string of letters after my name, and I can stick some weird arcane titles in front of mine. And they're all real, they're genuine. But it's really do the research yourself and actually learn how to hypnotize. Go out and play with it, and you'll see that being hypnotized is nothing like reading a novel, even though you may have experiential, interesting imaginative involvement with it. It doesn't diminish either, but they're not the same thing. And hypnotizing someone is not the same as simply relaxing them. Okay? There is a difference. Hypnosis is a genuine phenomenon, and there's some really cool stuff you can do with it, and it can be very, very effective for change work. It's awesome for recreational stuff, and damned if it ain't funny when you watch a good entertainment hypnosis show. Okay? Alright, that's just me spouting off, and I'll let you go now. But if any of you were indeed hypnotized, go ahead and stop that now. Eyes open, wakey, wakey, hands off, snaky. Go ahead and have a great day. This is Brian David Phillips saying, live trance and prosper. Bye-bye.